Okay, today we're going to be learning how to multiply two binomials. There are two methods that I always use. I use FOIL and I use Distributive. Okay? Now, this side of the screen over here is going to be FOIL and this side is going to be the D property. Sorry about this. Distributive. Yeah, that's hard to read. I'm gonna make it a lot better when we actually do the problems. Okay, so our first example, example 1, is going to be x plus 3 and x plus 2, okay? Now blue is going to be our actual problems when we don't change anything, which probably should be black, but it'll be okay. Sorry, this could be a lot better. It's kind of hard right now. So, the first is going to be in blue. Then we're going to go to green. Oops. Ignore that there. Nope. Hello? Oh, crap. 4. Control 4. Oh my gosh. What in the world happened? Okay. So, now that we kind of got that figured out. Okay. So, example 1 is going to be, like I said, x plus 3 and x plus 2. Sorry, I deleted everything. This is going to be the FOIL side. This is going to be the D side. Okay? Black is now going to be the problem, because I've got a little bit lazy there. So, first is going to be in blue. Outer is going to be in cyan. Inner is going to be in green. And let's see. Magenta, last is going to be in magenta. So right now I'm just going to go to black and I'm going to rewrite this all the way up here. That's FOIL. X plus 3 is one of your binomials. And your other one is x plus 2. Okay? FOIL. Now, first you're going to multiply your first terms together. Your first terms of each binomial. So that is going to be your x and your other x. Okay? So when you multiply 1x by 1x, you get x squared, because you might not see it, but there's little 1 exponents up there. When there's no exponents up here with your little letter variables, there's always an invisible 1. There's no other exponents. Okay? Now, let's see. Now we have cyan. Okay? And with cyan, you're going to multiply our outer terms, which is x and 2, because they are both on the outside, right up here. Okay? So x times 2 is positive 2x. Now you need to be sure to include that positive sign because sometimes it'll be negative, and if it's negative, you know that you're not going to do that. You'll end up subtracting if it's negative. So we're not subtracting there, so we're going to put our positive sign. Now our inner terms are going to be in green. 3 is an inner term, and this x is an inner term, right? So 3 times x is positive 3x, correct? Correct. Now magenta, which is kind of a pink, is going to stand for our last terms of each binomial, which is 3 and 2. 3 times 2 is positive 6. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to combine our like terms, which is 2x and 3x. Okay? So that's going to equal positive 5x plus 6. And at the beginning we're going to add our x squared. And that is going to be our answer right there. Okay? Now, with our distributive property, sorry, I'm not going to change it right now, because that would be kind of hard, and it's just a lot easier for me to do it this way. We have x plus 3, then over here we have x plus 2, and with the distributive property, you're just going to distribute these to over here, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to distribute this x to both of these numbers in your second binomial. So x times x is x squared, just like we talked about over here, because you have those invisible 1 exponents and you have to add your exponents. Okay? Now you have to multiply x times 2 to get positive 2x, right? Right. Okay, now let's change the color. Now you need to multiply your 3 by both of these. So you need to multiply these. 3 times x is positive 3x. Now you have 3 times 2, which is a positive 6, right? Okay. Now, we are going to solve the equation. Okay? 2x plus 3x are our like terms. So we're going to finish writing these since these aren't our like terms. Okay? 2x plus 3x is positive 5x. Okay? Okay. Now, these are both of your answers. They're the same answer in case you can't tell.
Who are you talking to?
The microphone.
I see.
Okay. So those are your answers. This side over here is when you use foil. Now I always use foil because that's just how she taught us. This side over here is your distributive. Don't know if I'm gonna get all that. Distributive property. Okay. So Okay. You can always go back and like pause it if you didn't get that done. I'm sorry. Okay. So now, since I'm done with that, we're going to do another example. Okay, so this is example 2. Correct. And now we're going to have x squared minus 3 and x squared plus 2. Okay, so now we're gonna start by using FOIL. I'm just used to using FOIL when I do this. So we have x squared minus 3 in parentheses. Then we have x squared plus 2. And I'll break this one down into steps. I'm sorry I didn't do that last time. I meant to. Okay, hi. Okay. And so we're going to do our first terms in red. Our outer terms in green. Our inner terms in magenta. And our last terms are going to be in cyan. Okay, so, and I'm just going to write in black. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to start off writing the equation. And I know that now I have to multiply our first terms. So I'm going to write the first term that we are going to be multiplying in red. Like we said originally. X squared minus 3. And then we have x squared plus 2. Okay, let's change back to red. X squared times x squared is going to be x to the 4th power. Because you have 1 times 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. And you have x squared plus x times x, which is basically 1. So you're going to write your x, and then you're going to add your 2 exponents, which is to the 4th power. Right? Right. Okay. So now we are going to start and multiply our outer terms, which is going to be in green, which is x squared minus 3 and x squared plus 2. Now you need to be sure to put that plus in there so you know that it's positive. Right? Right. Okay, so what's 1x times 2? Positive 2x. Now, since this doesn't have a variable at the end of it, it doesn't have an exponent. So it's going to be 2x squared. Right. Now we're going to do our inner terms, which is x squared minus 3. And we have another x squared plus 2. Okay? Now we're going to multiply those two terms. And negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And you're just going to tack on the x squared because there's no x value here. Oops. Color white. Sorry, I'm gonna write that up. Okay, so that's gonna be an answer there. Now we have one more to go, which is our last term of each binomial. So we have x squared minus 3 and x squared plus 2. I can't necessarily see that yet.
Okay.
Because I'm in the middle of drawing it and it'll mess it all up. Okay, so then you have negative 3 times positive 2, which equals negative 6. So then you're going to put all of these together and you're going to get x to the 4th power plus 2x squared minus 3x squared minus 6. And now you're going to look for your like terms, which is 2x squared and negative 3x squared. And 2 minus 3 is negative 1x squared. And then you're going to tack on these. And that, my dear friends, is your answer. If I can figure out how to... Okay, now that we have that, we're going to try our next example part of it. Let's see. Our example was x minus 3 and x plus 2. And you actually know what? As of right now, we're just going to get a new page and we're going to work it there. So we have our example as x minus 3 and x plus 2. Correct? Correct. Okay. So here we're going to use our distributive property. And I'm going to rewrite this so it's a bit neater. We have x minus 3. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to type it on here. X minus 3 times x plus 2. Okay, now this is our problem right here. So you're going to start and you're going to distribute this x to both of these. Correct? Correct. So x times x, and I'm going to do this one in magenta so we can see a difference here. X times x is x squared. Remember, because you have these little exponents you have to end up adding together. Okay. Now you have to multiply this and this together to get positive 2x. Okay? Now we're going to start and we're going to do our -3 to our x and the -3 to the 2. Okay? So -3 times x is -3x. Now with our cyan, we have -3 times 2, which is going to be -6. Now, I'm going to stop for a second and I'm going to explain to you something. If you were to have a +3 and a -2, you wouldn't get the same answer. You'd end up getting a 1x, I believe. Yeah, you'd end up getting a 1x, or a -1x, one of the two. Yeah, so you have to do it in this order. You have to write it down as you do it. Otherwise, you're going to mess your answer all up. Okay? So now we're going to combine our like terms, which is +2x minus 3x, which is going to end up being -1x. And you're just going to bring this stuff down, which is going to be x squared minus 1x minus 6. Okay? That's your answer right there. Same answer that we got up there. Now about the x plus 3 and x minus 2. This is going to be x squared minus 2x, and then you have these, and it's going to be +3x minus 6. -2 plus 3 equals, I'm sorry, I'm having a moment here. Yeah. So we have -2 plus 3 equals +1x minus 6. I was right the first time. And that would be your answer for that. But that's not the problem because you switched the signs. That's why it's important that you write it down exactly as you go along. Because let's say we had -3 plus 2x. See, -3 plus 2 equals -1. Whoa. Okay. Well, you have to make sure that you have the signs right, otherwise it just messes it all up, just like it's messing me up right now. Okay. Okay. Oh, so that's all for right now. Check out the next video that I post. Okay, so chances are the next video will most likely be on the Civil War. I'm a major freak on the Civil War. It's my favorite social studies topic. Okay, so my next video will most likely be on the Civil War. I'm a major freak on the Civil War. It's my favorite social studies topic, so I'll be getting very very, very excited and hyper. I might even do that video today. Have a good day. I love you all.